everyone, good morning. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets meantime looking pretty subdued. We are staring at a cut, although the cut is more or less restricted at this point of time. So nothing much going on in the market currently except the fact that the cut continues. In fact, as we speak, look at the sharp decline the Nifty has taken. We seem to be threatening to breach even the 11,200 mark. This is the sort of volatility we are witnessing in the index Monday morning, and things are not looking that good. And in particular, the auto space, which is seeing a decline of more than 3%. Over the weekend, of course, we had that very important news with respect to the GST rate cut, perhaps something that is causing IC manufacturing auto stocks to slump in trade. Okay, but the show is, of course, all about individual movers and shakers. So we are going to flag off just that with Kunal Bothra for the technicals. And we also have Vivek Iyer to talk about individual stocks and news. So good morning to you, gentlemen. Thanks for joining in. And let's start off, of course, with the big loser of today. It's a 20% fall. Well, almost a 20% fall seen in Vodafone Idea. This after delivering its first quarter numbers. The loss did narrow, albeit marginally. 4,874 crores, just a 4% sequential decline in the loss figure. Revenue has come down by more than 4%. The ARPU, however, has shown a bit of a rebound at 108 rupees. However, it's now Reliance Jio that has become the #1 telecom service provider in India in terms of number of subscribers. Remember, after Vodafone and Idea combined forces, they managed to tip Bharti Infratel and become the #1 subscriber. However, Rel Jio has now emerged as the big dominator in the telecom service provision space. Okay, Kunal, Asian Paints, something that's been on your radar for some time now. Any changes in your target price?
Not really, Mubina. I think it's just that now with the stock having an sort of an unabated run in the last 1 week, I think 6 or 7 trading sessions on a trot, where the stock has just about gained some significant momentum. It's now coming into a zone which is extremely overbought on the short-term chart. So even though the price trend and the trajectory seems to be on the upside for Asian Paints, but just because of the sheer overboughtness of the stock price, I would advise a part profit over here. 1525, 1535 is where the stock is trading. I believe these are good ranges to try and take out part profits over here. And if you want to hold on to the remaining quantity, then I believe wait for further targets of 1560 on Asian Paints.
All right. In fact, as we speak, Asian Paints is once again making an attempt to, move into the green. Vivek, Maruti, Suzuki, today auto stocks are taking a big tumble in trade, including Maruti.
Right, Mubina. In fact, what has actually happened is that for Maruti especially, the numbers came in, numbers were weak, but in line with what the market was anticipating. However, what has actually disappointed the street is that in any kind of the commentary given by the management, they have not alluded to any kind of a recovery as far as either the auto sales is concerned or as far as the inventory coming down is concerned. In fact, they have also alluded a little bit to further production cuts that they may be forced to undergo or undertake, given the fact that demand revival is not to be seen anywhere on the horizon. In addition to that, given the fact that new vehicle registration costs may increase post the GST meet outcome, you're actually seeing the entire auto pack take a bit of a big tumble, and which is why Maruti again leading the fall as far as the large cap auto names are concerned.
All right, 2.7% gone for Maruti, and like I said, all the auto stocks today are crumbling in trade. Bharti Infratel and Bank of America Merrill Lynch has double downgraded this stock to an underperform, with the target price cut as well coming into 250 rupees from 340 rupees. In fact, the stock is already trading at 258 rupees. Now, they believe that there is pressure on tenancy, and that will only continue going forward. There seems to be no visibility of tariff hikes. Vodafone Idea as well has not reported a good set of numbers. The cash flow pressures will continue. So all of this is something that's causing Bank of America Merrill Lynch to be very circumspect on Bharti Infratel, and the stock today is one of the biggest Nifty losers. Okay, Kunal, let's talk about Graphite India. Last week, we saw almost a 15 to 16% net gain come by, for the whole week in the stock price. And today, that seems to be continuing. And this is coming in after many days of a weakness in Graphite India. Anything that you observe here?
Oh, yes, Mumina. I think 5 straight weeks of, the weakness for stock price before in the previous week price performance. And the stock had dropped from 420 levels to almost sub 300 levels in a matter of those 5 weeks of correction. So last week came as a very good respite for the stock price. Now what generally transpires when you see a recovery of 5 weeks of correction is a lot of candlestick patterns change on the positive side. You saw bullish engulfing pattern on the weekly charts for graphite. The stock closed at much higher volumes than what it had seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks of that selling, which indicates that there's new trading investors or traders who have entered into the stock price. And more importantly, there were some short-term breakouts on indicators as well. So looking at all the prospects, given a buy call on graphite on Friday as well. Today morning also I reiterated the buy. Would revise the targets on graphite to 360 now. Traders could look at a buy or a hold even at current levels. 322 is where I would suggest a new stop loss.
Okay, Kunal's buy call continues then on Graphite India. 360 now is where he believes the stock could trend going forward. Vivek, let's talk about JSW Steel, first quarter numbers, and what does CLSA and the other brokerage community have to say about the numbers?
Well, Mubina, if you look at the numbers in itself, as you must have looked at it very closely, numbers themselves aren't too bad. In fact, they were in line to, maybe marginally below what the market was anticipating. But however, the brokerage community has highlighted quite a few risks as far as the entire metal pack is concerned. They've said that the prices as far as steel companies are concerned are set to go tumbling down even further. In fact, if you come to JSW Steel specifically, a few brokerages have highlighted that the risk of the company actually being forced to renegotiate contracts with automakers is at much lower prices than what they are at currently, is something that could drag down their margins even further, and which is why they're actually quite bearish as far as the overall outlook for automakers, the auto components, as well as metal company exposure to this particular space is concerned. On the back of that, JSW Steel has been, they've actually cut their EPS targets for this particular space, and also they've maintained their sell stance. In fact, CLSA has retained its sell stance and target is just at around 200 rupees a share.
Okay, so yes, CLSA seems to be a bit circumspect when it comes to JSW Steel. Okay, RWI small case index, and what is it indicating amidst this entire weakness that we are witnessing in the markets? Well, unchanged at this point of time at 505, nothing much substantially in terms of a move in the RWI small case index. Once again, a reminder for all our viewers, it's yet another innovation from the stable of ET now, taking forward our Rise with India theme. And this essentially is an index that we have created in collaboration with Small Case Index that adequately manages to represent what the Indian economy is currently indicating, what is the sentiment like of the market towards stocks and sectors that represent the Indian economy. Absolutely flat, while the market meantime is of course deeply in the red. So a bit of outperformance by the RWI Small Case Index. Okay, let's move on and talk about ICICI Bank. Lots of pricing action seen over there as well since it has delivered its first quarter numbers. The NII has come in above expectations, profits has come in below, and NPA is stable. As was expected and as is indicated by a lot of these banking companies, they have shown a sharp decrease in the provision amount as well for the first quarter compared to the previous quarter. It was at around 3,000 odd crore rupees as opposed to 5,000 crores in the previous quarter. So there's been definitely a big decrease. Even the slippage figure for the first quarter has compressed to around 2,700 crore rupees as opposed to what it was in the previous quarter. So definitely easing off quite a bit, ICICI Bank. Okay, we'll take a quick break right here on Market Fatafat, but do come right back for lots more movers and shakers. Havells India for you. It was a bit of a tepid performance. However, it was the electric consumer durables business that managed to do well, with the stock cracking more than 6%. Let's quickly continue flagging off more movers and shakers. And Kunal, Chola Finance, what is your call over here?
So the stock is, seeing some bit of bounce on the short-term charts. I think the last I had seen the stock was up, 1.5 or 2% up on an intraday basis, and the stock was on the verge of a swing breakout on the hourly charts as well. So I believe Chola Finance can see some bit of more upside. Purely as a short-term play, say over the next 1 to 2 days, I would look at 260, 262 as an immediate target range, and stop loss strictly maintained at 245.
Vivek, we are expecting Dr. Reddy's numbers today. What's the ET now poll suggesting?
Well, that's right, Mubina. Remember, all of the pharma companies are actually coming back or coming up with numbers off a very, very low base. So expect some good growth as far as revenues is concerned. Revenues is seen at almost 4,000 crore rupees versus a poll of versus last time's 3,650 crore rupees. Profitability too is seen almost flat on a year-on-year basis, and this on the back of the fact that some amount of the products that the company launched a year ago expected to see some amount of price erosion. So the base US business is something that is expected to see some amount of recovery. That is what our poll suggests as well. And in fact, if you're talking about the US sales, expected flat on a year-on-year basis, $220 million is something that the street is anticipating. Any figure that is reasonably substantially above this 220 million mark is something that the street will take to very positively. Overall, market would be very keenly watching the US sales business as well as the EBITDA margin. Margin trajectory has been on a downward swing as far as most of the pharma companies are concerned. It'll be interesting to see what the company actually comes up with.
Look at the Nifty. It is now below 11,200. In fact, 40 points below 11,200. It's been a big crack that has come in just in the last couple of minutes in trade. Remember, we were staring at a cut of 0.7% just about 20 minutes ago, and now a substantial part of the cut has come in just in the last couple of minutes. As you can see on your screens, we have crashed to the day's low. It's a more than 1% cut coming in. And with that, we are at the lowest level since, I suppose, early May. Kunal, of course, would be able to help out better with that. But yeah, it's a massive crack coming in the markets. Okay, very quickly then, we'll flag off more stocks. Tejas Network. This stock, remember, had just on Thursday or Friday hit a record low after that massive slump that came in the profit after tax in the first quarter. But look at the recovery seen in the stock today. Yes, we had bulk deal activity that transpired where HDFC Growth Fund bought around 30 lakh shares, but it was Columbia Emerging Fund that sold some shares in the counter. Net stock is attempting to bounce back after hitting that record low level, 7% higher now in trade. Okay, and Vivek, we just spoke about Havells India. What's the first quarter numbers looking like?
Well, Mubina, not a very good set. Even the management just now alluded to the fact that the kind of slowdown that the entire space has seen as far as the switchgear business is concerned. He actually mentioned and alluded to the fact that the real estate space is something that's seen a very significant slowdown. Also, NBFC financing has taken a big knock, which is why most of the consumer financing business has taken a big slowdown. The other thing that the management has alluded to is the fact that the Lloyd business is something that's not really picked up or not really kicked off as expected, which is why you've actually seen further downside. Most of the brokerages, however, have been quite optimistic. They've cut their EPS targets, no doubt, given that this has been a significant miss as far as most of the estimates were concerned. However, they have maintained their faith. They're saying a buy stance is still warranted. They believe that any kind of a demand recovery could aid Havells as it's one of the market leaders and has significant market share in most of the segments that it is present in.
All right, Havells is down by 6.5%. On that note, Kunal as well as Vivek, we're out of time, so we'll have to let you go. Thanks so much for joining in and sharing individual movers and shakers in trade. Markets, meantime, continue to slump. But we at ET Now are always, of course, in the process of helping you rise with India. And today we want to do so with the TMS Savings Challenge. How exactly is it that you can participate in it? Well, join me on the 1st of August to talk about that. And it's a very interesting challenge because we always talk about saving money and how money saved is money earned. But this challenge will help you consider that very seriously. So don't forget to tune in 1st August on TMS, the money show that is, and I will reveal how you can participate in the TMS Savings Challenge. Just 2 days to go. Get your thinking caps ready. Folks, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thanks for watching. Markets at noon will come up after a very short break.